Good morning, guys. Welcome to my Monday morning rants for Monday, the 31st of May, 2021, end of the month. Last week was pretty eventful. At some stage, I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube and I came across a video of a left-handed guitarist with one arm. His name is Patrick Heaney, and he was playing the guitar solo for Hotel California. And he did it really well. And I ended up watching a few of his videos and found that he was interviewed on a podcast with a guy called Chris George in the UK. And I stumbled upon Chris George's channel, which is called the Lefty Guitar Channel. So all these lefties, right? I don't know how YouTube figured this shit out, but the algorithm is showing me something good for a change. And I checked out some of Chris's stuff and his podcast with a whole bunch of lefties. And I had a couple of wines that night, so I reached out to him in a really long-winded email that would have scared most people away, I'm pretty sure. But the guy responded to me and said it would be awesome to catch up, hang out over a podcast, Lefty to Lefty. So we got it happening. Last Friday, we managed to tee up a time. It was quite late for me, like 8 o'clock. And late because that's fucking close to my bedtime these days. And it was probably about 11 in the morning for him. And we had a really good chat. And the guy is, he's an absolute fucking beast on the guitar. If you check out his CV, it is a crazy CV. Like he won Young Guitarist of the Year at 16 and worked with Marshall amps for 20 years. He's played with Paul Gilbert, Joe Bonamassa, Yngwie Malmsteen, Joe Satriani. He's played with some absolute legends, hung out with Slash. And it was just fascinating to meet a guy who has zero ego, is just so humble, and has every right to have the biggest ego on the planet. You know, I mean, even winning Guitarist of the Year at 16, that would just have made me an absolute egomaniac if it was me that won that. And how this guy has managed to navigate all these instances that have given him more than enough reason to have a humongous inflated ego is really fascinating to me. So I did launch that podcast on the weekend, and it's never great to put podcasts up on weekends because people tend to be offline. It's hilarious that people would prefer to consume online content when they're actually being paid at work. It's not, I suppose it's not surprising. But yeah, so I will probably relaunch that again this week sometime because I really want people to check it out. So that was awesome. Also, I last week put up a whole bunch of guitars on eBay. Me being old school, I always thought eBay was the best thing, but when I caught up with my sister recently, she said, "Oh, fuck eBay, just put it up on Facebook Marketplace." And the reason why I'm putting all this stuff up for sale, by the way, is Gibson USA. Gibson USA did this survey with their sort of rebrand and their comeback. They did a big survey and asked guitarists, average guitarists, how many guitars they owned. And apparently the average guitar player owns 8 guitars. And to me, that was pretty mind-blowingly huge. 8 guitars per guitarist. It just didn't seem right. And I literally rummaged around my house. I went into every room. I took every guitar and brought it into the lounge room. I opened my closet and found a whole bunch of cases in there that I thought were all empty, and they weren't all empty. There were some guitars in some cases. And I added all my guitars up to be 10 guitars. And that's too many. So yeah, I don't want to be a guitar collector. I just want to be a guitar player, right? So I put a few of these guitars up on eBay, and yeah, no bites and hardly any views. And I put them up on Facebook, and man, it's like one of them had over 1,000 views, and I got so many messages. Um, and I got messages from really dumb cunts as well. Hey, it's just like, I don't know what it is about Facebook, man. Like, it's kind of sad that like eBay has been overtaken by Facebook. I understand it, but it's kind of sad. But like people were so quick to not read my descriptions. Like I put a lot into the descriptions, and it was really detailed in every description of everything that I was selling. And people would be asking the stupidest questions. Like, I felt like being rude back, just said like, it's all in the fucking description. But, I ended up being nice because it could be a sale here, and ended up repeating myself many times. And some people were just weird. They were like, where do you live? And I wrote in the description, Maroubra 2035, but like, where do you live? I'm like, Maroubra, eastern suburbs, Sydney. And they're like, what street? I'm like, what do you mean what street? Like, why? Like, what, do you want to come over and look at it? Or like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people. And it just made me think, like, I hung out with Viv last night, and I just told her about that, and she's like, oh, fuck, you should see the messages I get. I'm like, oh my God, exactly. Like, I can't imagine. Actually, I can imagine. I know the kind of fucked up messages Viv gets from some really stupid men. But yeah, so I don't know what the fuck is with that, but I managed to sell the Orange amplifier, which was the first sort of thing that I bought this year to get myself back into guitar. And as soon as I bought it, I kind of regretted it because it's such a tiny little practice amp, and I wanted something much more substantial. And I ended up with the Boss Katana amp, which it suits me right now. I mean, I'm still dreaming of owning a Marshall stack, but yeah, the Orange amp was a mistake. And so that sold really quick. And then, I sold it with a bunch of other amps at the same time. And the amount of messages that I've gotten, hey, is this still available? And I'm like, quite clearly the ad says the Orange amp is sold. It's in the photos with all the other amps, but the fucking amp is sold. Yeah, so I probably have to redo that ad and put it up with all the other little amps that I want to get rid of. And sadly, kind of, the other guitar that I sold was my Japanese-made Squire, which I scored for $300 with a Roland Cube amp many, many years ago. And I more than doubled my money. I sold it for $650. So I feel okay about that. But it is an investment. These Japanese-made Squires are a rare thing. They seem to be selling for up to like $1,300. And it's one of those 30-year rule things, I think, with the guitars. It's like if something is 30 years old, it'll be worth more. If you want to buy and sell guitar gear and try to make money doing it, you're best looking at guitars from 30 years ago rather than trying to buy something new. And that's fairly true. Like if I look at the prices for Mexican-made Fenders or Epiphone Les Pauls and stuff like that, the prices are about $1,250 new. And if you look on eBay and Facebook Marketplace, a whole lot of them are between 500 to $700-800. Some people struggling to sell them at 900. So those prices of fairly new guitars from the last few years they're good guitars, but the prices are going down. Whereas the Korean or Japanese made Squires are going up. So yes, I sold an investment. No, I am not upset about it. It is not a left-handed guitar. If it was, I would have kept it. But the fact is, turning it upside down, Jimi Hendrix style, just as cool as the thing looked, I was never gonna play it. The lead was in the way. The volume knobs and tone knobs are in the way when you're strumming. It is so uncomfortable. The the curve of the hip curve is on the wrong side, so it's not an ergonomic guitar upside down at all, and you can't reach the high frets unless you've got Jimi Hendrix's long fingers. So it was just impossible to play. I wouldn't say impossible, but just so super uncomfortable to play. So both those things went to really cool people. Like the guy who picked up the amp was a new to playing the guitar. He lives down the road from me, so he's such a cool, nice, humble, sort of shy guy. And I think I might even contact him and see if he wants to jam. You know, like it'd be awesome to have someone that lived around the corner and wanted to jam every now and then. Speaking about that, when I caught up with my old high school mates to jam in real life, Spiro messaged the group a couple of days ago to say that he hasn't been able to put the guitar down since then, and he hadn't played for like 2-3 more. He hadn't played for years, so it's just such awesome news to hear that he's sort of back in the game, and he just bought a new Marshall head for his amp, his stack, and I'm hoping that we can jam again sometime soon because his place is unreal. And he's got a full drum kit set up, which is just insane. So that's just awesome news. And yeah, the guitar went to a uni student who lives quite far out, and he drove out here to get it. He really wanted the guitar. He'd been looking at them for some time, and I did have someone coming over to inspect it. But this guy just wanted it so bad, so I decided to reserve it for him. He was even willing to pay more for it. It was going to be his first Strat, and I can just tell he's going to really enjoy it. And I just let him know that this is quite a good investment. I don't think he knew that they were worth quite so much. So I'm just really happy that my gear has gone to good people. And what else? Also, last night I did hang out with Viv, and Viv has been in when is she not in an interesting place in life? But she's constantly growing, and now it's getting much more spiritual with her. It's a spiritual growth thing that she's going through, which is really, really awesome. Like, I just feel like she opens up so much in front of me, but not so much in public. And I think she wants to get there. She wants to be able to open up more in front of people, and rather than, spend a couple of days with something that someone might say that annoys her, and spending a couple of days before getting back to them and telling them why she's annoyed with what they said, to be able to do it on the spot, I think is where it's at. Like, I don't think you want to be defensive, and some people are really quick to react and they're defensive. But I think if you can be in the moment and be constructive about how you're feeling, and then explain to someone that potentially what they're saying is upsetting you, and to be able to say it live while it's happening and while you're feeling upset, and in a really calm fashion and constructive way, to have a good discussion about it, an open discussion. I think that's a great place to be in life. And I think she's banging on that door, like, I think she's trying to figure this shit out. So, it was awesome that we hung out and we didn't shoot for a change, and we just talk shit. And, at the end of it, we made some popcorn and hired a movie, which again, I just haven't done in so long. I haven't watched a movie. So we watched Holy Smoke, which is it's like a late 90s movie, directed by Jane Campion. Jane Campion is fucking amazing. There was so many moments in the movie where I'm like, Viv, check out the framing of that. The framing is so unreal, and she totally saw it. It's like just beautifully shot, and it stars Kate Winslet, a very young Kate Winslet, and I love Kate Winslet. She's awesome. And Harvey Keitel, who is just the man. Like, I love Harvey Keitel. He's just got such intense eyes. Does the best faces, and that film is close to my heart. I hadn't seen it in a very long time, but Animal Logic, who I used to work with, they did the special effects for that film. and even the titles are really cool. And part of that movie was shot at a mate's house as well. So I have memories, like when I see those scenes, I have memories of being at my mate's house, and it's just trippy as fuck. Such a great film about spirituality and the traps of it, the traps of, cults and going to India to try to find oneself and all that kind of stuff. And the sort of motto of the movie is be kind, and it's a really good motto to have, right? To just be kind to people. And I sent Viv a link to the podcast that I did with my mate Jasper as well. And Jasper is a fascinating guy who used to work in corporate, and he was a Google AdWords guy for working for Google for many years. And now he's just like the biggest hippie, and he runs these huge dance parties where he encourages people to get high without drugs. And he also runs courses on trying to get people to find their ikigai, which is like their purpose, their reason, their purpose in life. And I sent that video across to Viv as well, because I think it sort of suits where she's at right now. And yeah, look, guys, I think on the note of being kind, I might leave it at that. I haven't got a huge week plans, but I do have an awesome shoot and some fancy mansion apparently tomorrow with Viv and Ellie. So that'll be rad, because my Patreon is going to run dry of content if I don't do this shoot. And yeah, I hope everyone has an awesome week, and I shall catch you guys in the next one. See yous.